Shane Dawson's SUPERLUV was his first original song and video in a YouTube music career that was both long and colorful, although the color was mostly brown face paint. From the tired nice guy narratives to school play quality costumes, Shane's earliest efforts really set the tone for a creator who could never quite own up to what it was he was trying to accomplish. While the songs and video concepts seem like an earnest attempt at mainstream music, there remains a tone of parody to the production value that seems to say, this was all meant as a joke, unless you think it's cool and you want to make me the new Fall Out Boy. Well, sorry Buster, but trying to be funny doesn't really help when there's nothing good underneath. You wouldn't hang out in John Wayne Gacy's basement just because there's a pair of clown shoes down there. While SUPERLUV is probably the least problematic of Shane's videos that we've covered, I still found myself bewildered by the cringy White Knight storyline, poorly planned camera blocking, and a superhero costume that will have you running back into the burning building you were just rescued from. We're flying high for another Shane Dawson flavored installment of Clip Breakdown, sponsored by EveryPlate. Hello television viewers, my name is Nick. Thank you so much for joining me once again on my channel for another installment of Clip Breakdown. This is the playlist where we dive into our favorite YouTube music videos, movies, and TV movies, and we laser cut them into little clips to look at them again and again. And today we're going back to our friend Shane Dawson, who is kind of in the news all year when it comes to YouTube. And I've had a lot of people ask me to look at this video, SUPERLUV, so I did, and now we all have to do it together. But before we get into it, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up if you want to see even more clip breakdowns just like this one. But most importantly, if you're new to my channel, I would love to have you click that subscribe button right down here. That way you never miss new videos from me. I upload 2 new ones, so if you want to see all of them right when they're hot fresh, then turn on notifications and you'll be the first to know. Also, I've got merch available and a Patreon where you can access bonus content and monthly exclusives. So right off the bat, this video had a lot of the same tropes that I'm used to seeing in these Shane Dawson pieces. I feel like children are being added to these videos just to like make it feel commercial or to add some forced sentimentality to it. But guess what? Kids don't make me feel anything except sick. When they sneeze just out into the open air, I go mad. So when I see these 2 kids talking, all I'm seeing is your runny nose.
I hate him. But he's your dad.
It's so disgusting to think that a father would use their child's arm to swatch eyeshadows like that. I'm sorry, but I saw this already in Forrest Gump, so it's not really that touching to me right now. I feel like one of the most important things you can do as an artist or a filmmaker is try to steer yourself away from cliches. Stop making stuff that's exactly what you've seen, because if you're replicating it, you're not doing anything special. If I've seen it before, you gotta switch it up.
Brenda, I made you something. You like it?
She's like, it depends. How tight can you make it? What is with Shane using the name Brenda? It really makes my whole skin crawl. When have you met a child named Brenda in your life? I haven't. I swear, every video we've looked at, it's like someone's named Brenda. Is that like a real name of someone in Shane's life? I'm at a loss. It's such an unclever name. Anyway, the little girl loves the necklace. I really feel like this whole beginning scene was just tacked on because it doesn't really tie into the rest of the video at all. You would think introducing this necklace would mean something later on, but it never comes up.
I'm running out of time.
Why, are you last in line at the Avril Lavigne meet and greet? Who in the Blink-182 dressed this man like he's the most under-tipped employee at Olive Garden? He wanted to be Nancy from The Craft, but we got Lance from the craft store. I guess he's just trying to play a character like he plays a goth character in this. There was really no connection between him as a young boy and becoming this goth person. Would have loved to know why that happened or why that was motivated. But the costume itself just feels really insincere, like fishnet gloves, mama. Those fish are dead. Also, I know this was made in 2012 and he probably had not like a lot of people helping him, but I hate it when you just put a light somewhere that is visible and call that filmmaking. You can see they put some sort of spotlight behind him in the hallway, but other than giving us this really hot spot on the lockers behind him, it just gives us these ugly long shadows extending towards the camera. And since his face is in the fill or the dark side of the frame, it looks really flat. If we could have bounced some light back towards him and given the face some dimension, then it would look like they tried a little bit. You should have the eyes be visible. Shane's eyes are not visible here because they're half covered by a curtain of stringy hair with these Hot Topic hot blue clip-ins.
I hope that I can save you somehow.
The guidance counselor's like, well, I would love to help you with your abusive relationship, but you all graduated 10 years ago and I need you to leave. We've got more Brie Essrig as our leading lady. Just as sure as her name will be Brenda, we're gonna see this girl in one of Shane's videos. He used her for years like a Zooey Deschanel meat puppet, which I think was the alternative title for 500 Days of Summer. This was probably a symptom of Shane trying to relate to his audience at the time, very young girls, so of course you're gonna have it all set in high school. But looking back at it now, it's just like, that spells doom for me. If you're pretending to be in high school as a 25-year-old to make your audience watch, like, I feel like you're gonna age out of your audience pretty fast. It's the same kind of thing you saw with those Instagram comedians like Lele Pons, where they're like always being like, remember the weird kid in high school? And it's like, yeah, but you're 24. Can you talk about something that happened recently? And it also just like, it's amazing how out of touch we become with real high school. Like, when would a high school boyfriend just grab a book and throw it on the ground? I mean, I'm sure it happens, but feels like they could think of more insidious ways to show that Brenda's being mistreated. Like, maybe he's flirting with other girls, maybe he's completely ignoring her, like just being like, oh, nice book. Ha! What now?
If I had superpower, I'd save the world, it would be mine. Have no fear, your hero is here.
Ooh, is this from the new Dollar Store Cinematic Universe? The DSCU? He does that cliche thing when someone transforms where they're like, they look at their hands. Girl, the only thing looking at those gloves is gonna tell you is that they're gonna disintegrate in the washing machine. This superhero's kryptonite is bargain brand laundry detergent. Also, every time it shows him transform into this superhero, which the costume is just like, it's another level for me. If you're gonna position yourself as the hero in your video, wouldn't you want that hero costume to actually look cool and not like embarrassing? It's easy for a superhero costume to look embarrassing. You're wearing a bodysuit and a cape. And in this case, it's like the cheapest cape and some cheap party store mask. So it's like, it looks like a joke. Boo. Sorry about it. And if he's gonna transform, can I at least get a wide shot? Can you reveal the costume? That's a good sign that they were not happy with the way this costume looked on camera. It's like we never really see it in full. I also can't tell if this is Shane's real singing voice or if it was like a character voice that's trying to sound really Avril Lavigne pop punk. I'm running out of time. It's just like, okay, Nadia nasal passages, let's open up the airways a little more.
Give me a try, 'cause I'm running out of time. I know what I came to do, and I didn't come to lose.
Wow, even Shane Dawson's hair extensions are trying to distance themselves from him. They fully staple gunned some pink curtain tassels to his scalp and he said, laid. Let's get on camera. I don't know what to do when I look at those hair extensions, both the blue ones and the pink ones. The like unsuccessful goth look just further brings into question, why is this character even a goth anyway? It's just like a different flavor they sprinkled on this video to make it seem maybe not 100% white bread generic, but to me it still is. Just like in a Kelly Clarkson selling clothes for Kmart type of way. We've been in this hallway way too long, and like the amount of extras they have crammed in there, again, everyone's just standing in place at their locker. We don't have anyone moving in and out. That would go a long way towards making this feel a lot less static. Okay, let's practice that stage run a few more times so we can get a wide shot where it doesn't look like you're wearing a Teletubby costume. I always find it really unflattering when you see someone running directly towards the camera if it's not for a specific reason. Like, that's the angle where I get the least amount of information about what's going on. They could have easily set this up so that it's like on the side of him running down the hall, so we see him rushing past people, and then you get a close-up of the guy sticking his foot out. It would feel a lot more exciting, you know, because like if you shoot something just like as the security camera would see it down the hallway, then yeah, it's gonna look pretty boring. That's why movies look so good, is because you find the angle that makes everything feel dynamic and exciting.
And if trouble comes around, I won't be backing down tonight.
Alright, that's a wrap on the leather jacket jumping around, because Shane's already sweating through the spandex superhero costume, and it's only 10 a.m. Any costume like this, especially a special costume, like a superhero thing, you need to have two so that when an actor sweats through it, inevitably, because you're under hot lights and you're moving around, or if you get a stain on it or anything like that, you need to have an extra so that you can keep shooting while the other one is drying out or being washed. So in this case, Shane would have to take this superhero costume, light it on fire, and then go buy 2 copies of a better looking one. That's my note.
You're in danger.
This fight choreography seems like it's trying to be the Karate Kid, but it's giving me karate kidney disease. Also, this is a really good example of a filmmaker breaking the rule of 180s. This is a good one to keep in mind if you're making something. See how Shane's on the left side of the screen in the wide shot, and then as soon as he slams into the locker, he's on the right side of the screen? What they're trying to show you is what Shane looks like from the opposite side of the hallway, but they're not following the rule of 180s, so it confuses the eye. Imagine that there's a 180 line and you're not gonna cross it. You can't be shooting anything that's not in front of this 180 line. It's gonna flop everybody around on screen, so that's an important one to keep in mind. As that scene ends, you get literally 1 frame long of a flash of Brenda looking at her little bottle cap necklace, but they did not ever integrate that into the story where it's like she's still looking at it. If I didn't slow this down, I would not have seen it. But it's also like, you wore that pink bottle cap for years and years, and when this guy's around, she doesn't even look at him. She like pretends he's not there. So that's a little bit weird for me, but we'll figure it out. The next part of the video takes place in the lunchroom. But speaking of lunch, I wanted to quickly talk about today's sponsor, EveryPlate. With EveryPlate, you can get meals that you're going to love and that will save you money, all delivered right to your door, contact-free. When I opened up my EveryPlate box, I was so excited by the full color, easy to follow instructions, plus pre-portioned ingredients and fresh produce. The reason I haven't stuck with other meal kits is because they're so expensive, but EveryPlate easily has the best value I've seen with the same delicious food. And EveryPlate made it so much more affordable to get like a hearty, delicious meal without calling up my like delivery place again and again, which is just not the ticket when you're trying to save money. Plus, I felt more fulfilled when I cooked the meal myself. I recently whipped up these delicious zucchini, tomato, and mozzarella panini sandwiches. Ugh, so good. And they were way easier to make than I expected, and I saved more than a little cash over ordering it from a less healthy place. Get started with EveryPlate for just $1.99 a meal, plus get an additional 20% off another 2 weeks by going to everyplate.com and entering DiRamio $1.99. Thank you so much to EveryPlate for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the lunchroom with Shane. You can tell the video is trying to do this like trendy thing. I guess it kind of reminds you of Fall Out Boy, where it's like there's a clapping in the song, so you see someone clap on video being like. To me, this just feels like a school day that won't end. I'm like, someone pull the fire alarm. We gotta get out of here.
Fighting for your love for all this time. What I gotta do to make you mine.
Cock-a-doodle-doo, I'm making time. I hate lyrics that don't sound like real talking. What I gotta do to make you mine. You would never say, what I gotta do. He could have even made that work. He could have been like, what do I gotta do to make you mine? Or tell me what I gotta, tell me what I gotta, tell me what I gotta. What I gotta dip your daughter in the water. Oh, who shot her? Everybody's getting hotter. Just a little freestyle for my remix, of the Shane Dawson masterpiece. Because Shane has a staring problem with this Brenda girl, he gets beat up by the bully again. Almost.
But I can save you, baby. Give me a try.
Someone was clearly very proud of this dolly shot because they decided to speed it up to include the full motion, even though it just kind of looks like a time lapse of her looking at her french fries. To me, the song is talking about giving a sign. This would have been a great time for him to realize she still carries the necklace. Then he would realize that's the sign that she does want me to help. Something like that. Like, what if Brenda acted all happy with her boyfriend, even though he mistreated her? She was like smiling begrudgingly. Because right now she looks like a sad sack the whole time. Like, honey, get out of that relationship. So what if Shane was like just pining over her and then seeing him treat her badly, so he was like, oh, I don't like that. But then when she opened up her locker, he saw her like looking longingly at the locket, and they had a picture of them up as kids. I think it would work better if he was like a strict nerd and not this goth, because I don't know, it just feels like it's not working for me, but whatever.
'Cause I'm running out of time.
Wow, all these groundbreaking visual effects, but nobody noticed the incontinuity on that plate of vegetable goulash? Goulash? Why was that plate of vegetables flipping over the most well-executed part of this video? Basically, every special effect they used in this was a matter of compositing or just speeding up footage or slowing it down, playing it in reverse. Very basic stuff. And that's another thing. Every time we watch a Shane video, I get some comments that'll be like, you know that this was intentionally bad, right? And I'm like, okay, was it though? Because to me, it seems like if someone's going to make something intentionally bad, it's for a reason like humor. So if this being intentionally bad was supposed to be funny, I would have laughed at some point up until now, right? I think what it is he really wanted to break into this stuff. Like, if we had seen this song and been like, oh, Shane is the pop god, then he would have fully embraced that. But because no one ever did, and they were like, oh, funny, I guess, because they don't know what to do with it, he decides, okay, yeah, it's a parody. I'm gonna build in this, like, escape clause in case it ever doesn't come off that good. Like maybe he really felt like his audience would feel alienated if he tried to take something seriously and presented like an honest piece of work. That's definitely what happened with Not Cool. He went into the process being like, I want to make a serious film, and then instantly made it a YouTube video. For me, it's about trying too hard to understand what your audience wants and not enough about what it is you want to make. You have to go into it with a point of view, and you have to stick to that point of view and not try to change it every time someone has an opinion. The work just all lacks a clear voice.
I know what I came to do, and I didn't come to lose. Fight until you're mine, and if trouble comes around, I won't be backing down.
I'm sorry, are you a superhero saving her, or are you taking her drink order at the Cheesecake Factory? As usual, I wish there was more creativity in this action. Like, you really want to avoid having someone just be like talking down to you, and that's the whole scene. That's kind of the problem with most Hallmark movies. There's a lot of conversation that's just like two talking heads back and forth. They have this whole school set to play with. They can be moving around that whole area where they're eating lunch, have the girl be getting up to leave, and he stops her, and she kind of walks around to be like, I gotta go help my boyfriend. But maybe she drops the necklace, and he picks it up, and he's like, I'm gonna bring this back to her. Because the boyfriend pulls her away, and she drops the necklace, and she's like, I'll miss you, weird masked pink boy. Because so far, all we have is two locations where he's like talking at this girl about whatever. I won't be backing down. And it's annoying that the female character and subject of the song doesn't have anything to do but be Sally Sad Eyes the whole time. The boyfriend like punches him out for talking to the girl. And then we get this weird like kind of dubstep dance break. Okay, now that we've checked in on the eye in the sky traffic cameras, we can move on to today's headlines. I feel like Shane just didn't storyboard anything for these musical breaks, so they whipped together some CSI Miami transitions. This like high energy, really frenetic type of music video style editing to me is actually the mark of a less skilled filmmaker. And I thought this a long time ago when I saw Shane's documentaries where it's like TV static, viral footage, stock footage, archive footage. Like, it's very overproduced. To me, that's like just a way of covering up the fact that you don't have enough coverage. I like more simple editing where I'm looking at visuals, not just like, oh, I reused footage of Shane smashing his head down, so I just played it back and forth. Also, like the fast-paced footage of the lights on the highway, it just like doesn't mean anything because it's not becoming nighttime, it's not becoming daytime, so you're not showing an actual day transition, so why is it there? I think it's really important to experiment when you're editing video to music, especially if you want to be like a music video creator or editor of any type, because there's a lot of stuff you learn when you're cutting video footage to a beat and you realize, oh, if I do this, it makes the music feel even cooler. That kind of stuff is all fun, but when it comes time to your final project, I would suggest really editing it down because you don't want it to just feel like you threw every Final Cut Pro preset at the wall. Oh, I just got a notification to take my fiber pills. What a country, what a world. What a magical land. What a place where everything's possible. We're coming up on the final act of this music video, so here's the final straw for Shane.
'Cause I'm running and know what I came to do, and I didn't come to lose. And if trouble comes around, I won't be backing down tonight.
Is it just me, or does this superhero get his ass kicked a lot? Like, I think you're just a guy wearing a bodysuit from Amazon. Like, there's not been one thing where he's been like, oh, I defeated him. It's like, you just got bashed, and then sometimes ran away. And we also don't know what Shane's character has as superpowers, because right here, he just commits assault. Now, I've never personally been roughed up by someone wearing dish gloves, although when I'm with a guy, sometimes I do like his hands to smell like bleach so I can pretend that Mr. Clean is choking me out. Shane gives this bully the final KO. These fight scene special effects, they were trying to be Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but mama, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Cancer. That tiger's got a tumor. Finally, Shane gets the girl. Oi.
And all you really need.
Oh good, I was hoping we'd get a close-up on those scuffed rain boots. I heard those were actually worn by the daughter of the Gorton's fisherman on the day she drowned. They're trying to show that they're floating and spinning in this circle of people, but again, we would need a wide shot to really feel that's like a sold effect. We just get these POV of us spinning around and seeing those extras. It's not everything. It's not anything.
Been right in front of you this whole time. Now you are mine. Now you're mine.
the family of gophers they just landed on top of is like, what the hell? Teleporting into my field? Wow, is this a satisfying ending? Yeah, you keep that male-female romance out in the meadows where it belongs. And then of course Shane Dawson goes into his outro where he's like, this was the first song I ever sold on iTunes and I'm really nervous about it, so if you would please help me out, it would mean so much to me. It's like, no one wants your song. No one wants your song. Sounds like garbage. You look like garbage. This thing was garbage. What did you guys think of SUPERLUV? I'm glad we checked this out. One thing left related to Shane Dawson that I'm considering looking at is Internet Famous, but if there's any other content from him that you really want to see, you can let me know in the comments below, or any content in general. But most importantly, I would love to have you give this video a big thumbs up if you want to see even more clip breakdowns like this. Also, if you're new to my channel, I would love to have you click that subscribe button right down here. That way you never miss new videos from me. I upload 2 new ones every week, so turn on notifications and you'll always be the first to know when I'm spinning in the air like a SUPERLUV superhero. I've got merch and a Patreon where you can get exclusive content. Thank you so much to Every Plate for sponsoring this video. You guys are all the greatest. Thank you for getting super loved with me today. I will see you next time.